It was the best of card shows. It was the worst of card shows. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was a hot summer of hope and a cold winter of despair. I spent some good few hours at a show this weekend. A 150-table affair split between two different rooms in a hotel lobby. Truly a tale of two card shows. The vast differences were not due to the dealers or selection, but the temperature. On this winter day, Room 1 received a steady draft from the 25-degree air blowing in from outside, tanking the room's temperature to below 60 degrees, while the second room was void of any airflow whatsoever, raising the temperature into the 80s and mixing the fetid odors of BO, barbecue, and dog pee. We'll get to that. Always my first task is to pick up a Bryce Harper for the kid, and one of the first dealers I passed had his cards separated by team with clear dividers, something I always appreciate. A quick thumbing through the stack produced this 2021 Topps Allen and Ginter card, which will make a nice addition to his Harper collection. $1 later, and my parental promise fulfilled, it was time to see what this show had to offer. A lonely dealer in the corner had a large spread of autos and relics for $4 each. I felt bad for the guy. Not only did he get the corner, but it was also the coldest corner by the coldest door. He was wearing his winter coat and looking miserable every time the door opened and another rush of chilly winter air came wisping in. I tucked in to his boxes. Right off the bat, I found this Nick Maton autograph. Maton played for the Phils in 2021 and 2022, but really only off the bench. He was traded to Detroit along with Matt Vierling for Gregory Soto before 2023. I have a Vierling auto, but only because it was a dollar bin special. For $1, I'd have bought the Maton. For $4, meh. I set it aside and kept flipping. I stopped long enough to zip up my coat, as it really was chilly in this room. And then I pulled out this guy. Jimmy Rollins is on the Hall of Fame ballot right now and got 14% of the vote this year. His autos are usually in the $30 to $50 range. For $4, I couldn't get my money out fast enough. I offered $5 for both the Rollins and the Nick Maton, but Captain Cold was not in the mood to make a deal, so I took the Rollins, put the Maton back, and went into the second room to warm up. With the feeling returning to my cold fingers, I tucked into a quarter box, again pre-sorted by team. Out came a pair of 2023 Topps Stars of MLB cards, Bryce Harper and Trey Turner both. Also, 2024 Topps Series 1 cards were in there too, and this was my first sighting of them out in the wild. I don't really open packs anymore. The money math doesn't work. A hobby box is $90 these days, 20 packs of 12 cards. That's 240 cards. For $90, 37 cents a card to buy them new, most of which I don't want in the first place. Finding the cards in a quarter bin is 33% off retail, and I find it equally exciting to flip through a mystery bin as opening a pack. Plus, I can focus on only the cards that I want. It's cheaper, and there's no waste. This is how I build my team sets for the most part. So for a quarter, I'll have the 2024 Brandon Marsh, the first card of the 24 team set for me. More flipping, and the Harper was in there too, as well as the rookie card of Johan Rojas. I thought Rojas should have been in the update series last year, but Topps doesn't seem to be listening to the detailed voicemails I leave their customer service agents. I asked the dealer for a $5 for $1 special, to which he happily agreed. I turned to head to the next booth when I ran into a familiar and unmistakable face I had seen on many good baseball card YouTube channels. It was Chris from Missouri. I introduced myself and told him about this channel while complimenting his great YouTube contributions. Chris from Missouri has a big boy collection of vintage Hall of Famers and had some monsters at his table, the highlight of which was a complete 1954 Red Heart set. You might think I'd gawk at the mantle, but nah, the jewel in that collection is definitely the Richie Ashburn. Chris from Missouri didn't want to break up the set, so he couldn't make a deal on the Ashburn. And rightfully so. I hope this set stays a set. As I was about to leave, another customer came up, and right there in front of me, a 4-figure deal went down. Now that's not my story to tell, and maybe Chris from Missouri will tell it on his own channel, but suffice it to say, he is the real deal, and it was a pleasure to meet him. The next table down had more boxes with team dividers, which coughed up this 2023 Topps chrome purple speckle rookie autograph of Cody Clemens. Clemens played a lot at the beginning of last year when Harper was still on the DL. When Harper came back in June, Clemens went back to AAA Lehigh Valley and stayed there for the remainder of the season. This is kind of a cool card. Clemens has potential, and he's the son of legendary flamethrower Roger Clemens, and it was only $3. Now I passed on the Maton at $4, but something about the Clemens said his career is just getting started. It had been 20 minutes or so of being in the hot room, and I was starting to melt, so I took off my coat and went back to the cold side to cool down. When I see a dealer with vintage, I almost always ask if they have any boxes not on display, and I found a guy who had a box of nearly 1,000 early Bowmans, mostly 1949 to 52. Now this is my kind of box. Through idle chit-chat, I flipped my way through and out popped the 52 Bowman Smokey Burgess and the 52 Bowman Eddie Waitkus. I have their Topps counterparts in the master set. Both were low grade and had some creasing, so we agreed on $3 each. In another box, he had the 54 Bowman Del Ennis, and it was in beautiful condition. I already have one, but when I encounter a vintage Philly card in this high of a grade, I usually tuck it away, and he only wanted $5 for it, a steal given it was just pristine. After the 15 minutes or so of flipping through his boxes, I was cold again. So I put my coat back on and headed back over to the sauna to warm up. This went on all afternoon. One of the big takeaways from the show was that the Chiefs were on full display. After the recent Super Bowl victory, a lot of dealers were trying to cash in. There was memorabilia, lots of Chiefs-focused tables, and Chiefs-specific boxes, as well as plenty of knuckleheads in Chiefs gear lined up at each, with cash at the ready. My Philly shirt was out of place, more so than usual. Coming back up to temperature, I came upon a dealer I know well, and one whom I've talked about before. "Phillies guy," he called out. "I've got one for you." Now this is a dealer who knows me well, knows what I collect, and who sets aside things for me when he encounters them. He knows I've been working on a T205 team set, one of which I bought from him last year. So out he pulls another T205, and a beauty, William Bransfield. Bransfield went by the nickname Kitty. He played from 1898 to 1911 for 4 teams. He played for the Phillies from 1905 to 1911, the year of this card. He was an average ball player with a career .270 batting average and respectable fielding percentage. Kitty Bransfield died in 1947 at the age of 72 after a career as a player, manager, coach, and umpire. A true baseball man. I was definitely coming home with this card. We struck a deal that also included a crisp 1964 Topps Giant of Johnny Callison. I've never bought a Topps Giant before, but he also gave me a display page for it too. With 4 pockets to fill, I suppose I need to pick up the Jim Bunning and the Tony Gonzalez now as well. I love this about collecting. You can just stumble into new little nooks and crannies and expand your collection in totally organic ways. With sweat beginning to drip down my neck, my coat came off again, and back over to the cold room I went. I was tiring of this game. It was getting later in the afternoon, and some dealers were packing up. I came upon a table of autographs, and was trying to browse as he was preparing to leave. He moved a case, which disturbed a pile, causing a familiar green of 1994 Topps to peek out. I knew that card. Is that a Dykstra? He put the case down and opened it. It was a Dykstra. Ever since I built a shelf to display my autographs, I've been looking for a Lenny Dykstra auto to put up there. He was part of the core that won the pennant in 1993, and with all his flaws, he sure was a fun player to watch. He was in the news recently, as he's been in the ICU after suffering what appears to be a fairly serious stroke. With no prices marked, I asked the dealer what he wanted for the Dykstra. $15, he said. I came back at 10 and said, how about an end-of-show special? He held firm at 15. I was getting cold again, so I went to put my coat back on, and he mistook that as me leaving, so he said, okay, $10. The first such time the air temperature got me a discount on a baseball card. For $10, I tucked the Dijkstra in my pocket and left the dealer to pack up. Back over in the hot room, I found a vintage dealer and thumbed through his 52 tops. I have all the 52 Phillies, but I'm always interested in possible upgrades. After some idle chatter, I came across Kurt Simmons here. I'm a big fan of Simmons and have all of his cards, plus 2 autographs as well. This card was in really beautiful condition. Slightly off-center, yes, but with 4 sharp corners and excellent color. A big upgrade from my current example. We agreed on $8, which was fine because I was getting hot again and was contemplating whether I had the patience to go back over to the tundra. At the same time, a man came through with a dog on a leash. It wasn't a service dog. It was just a dog. A dog at a card show. A dog that promptly lifted its leg and peed a bit on the corner of a table cover. Me and a few other people shot glances at each other, deciding who was going to say something. Thankfully, it wasn't me this time, and as the owner realized his mutt made a boo-boo, and the stale smell of dog pee started to permeate the steamy hair already teeming with BO and barbecue, I slipped out and headed for the car. I had enough thermal shock for one day and wasn't interested in any animal urine-based controversy. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Driving home with my newest acquisitions, I shook my head and chuckled to myself. It's always something at these shows, and I can't wait for the next one. Thanks for watching. Remember to leave your dog at the door, and we'll see you next time on Baseball Card Stories, Legends, and more.